Hey everybody, it is Sunday, July 23rd, Universal Language Radio with Jason Kaplan and my great friend, best friend for almost coming up on 20 years.
Just about, yeah.
Gilbert Smith is in from the Bronx, New York City, visiting in Memphis, and welcome. So glad to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, we've been catching up on old times. We decided to do this recording to talk about the project.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's wonderful for me to just be in nature. You know, it's one of the things that, New York is a very busy place. I'm in the Bronx, but I'm fortunate to be across from the park, but I can't just sit in my backyard and chill like this.
Yeah.
It's just a true bounty, and it's always a pleasure to see you.
Oh, it's great. I'm so glad you're here. I remember coming up from Washington Heights on the one train up to, so what's the name of the park where you're at?
Van Cortlandt.
Yeah, Van Cortlandt, of course. Yeah, and you're up at the top, close to 242,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was in the city from 2000, 2010. How long have you been in the city?
That's a good question. I think off and on since about 1999.
Wow. Okay, right. So similar start
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Okay. And we were talking about how I came to the Baha'i Center around 2006 for this Baha'i open mic night.
Yes.
So what was that? That was your project and Mike Longo's project together?
Well, no, not really. So Mike and Dorothy Longo are jazz musicians, aficionados. Really have both outstanding musicians, but also business people, and they were a beautiful couple.
Yeah.
And they sponsored on Tuesday nights jazz at the Baha'i Center. And it was a religious space, but it wasn't in a religious context.
Right.
It was a musical space where people could come and get really world-class music in a non-threatening environment that was affordable and welcoming. And then on Wednesday night, I hosted an open mic, and
That's what it was.
And that was a little bit looser, right?
Of course.
but I mean, the idea there was that people could come and share their talents, poetry, dance, visual arts, music, drama. It's about every ilk we had, and the only requirement was that it be positive and uplifting. It was in a worship space, and I mean the idea that we believe that work done in a spirit of service to humanity is raised to the level of worship, but also kind of just make a joyful noise unto the Lord. But I mean, this was really open to anybody.
Absolutely.
There wasn't any a certain kind of goal that we had or programming thing. We just brought people together to share their art and help uplift each other. And I remember you came in with William Ruiz.
Yep, William Ruiz.
Yeah, he brought in the Taino log drum, and you had your guitar, and played some uplifting meditative music. And there was a lot going on that night, so we really didn't connect much. But one of the things that we did connect on was what brought the two of you together,
Right.
and what your vision was for kind of continuing that and making it grow. And that really struck me. So we decided to get together and chat and maybe jam sometime. And that was the beginning of kind of a beautiful friendship, but also something where we can express in very tangible ways what unity means and how we can try to help workshop ways to make it a reality.
Right. When I was always going to the bars in Greenwich Village, it was so much fun. And then I started hooking into this idea of a religious space with an open mic. And we'd done a couple in Washington Heights, but yours was more developed and in this beautiful auditorium and people from all walks of life. And I loved being part of the spirit of the place that was open for me being creative. That always stuck with me. I don't know how many bars actually I went to play in after that, because I just thought, that's not the energy I wanted to hook into to then be creative for myself.
Okay.
And so I heard you do the Phoenix poem to a beat, right? Wasn't there a drum?
Yeah. Well, no, I had a backing track.
Right.
Which was actually was a song that Neo did. So sick.
Oh.
It was immortal Phoenix moved by the royal falcon, first in the mix, but I won't be the last one. Like the glorious bird hailed in ancient times, spreading the word with pungent rhymes. So I mean, the idea, it was really kind of a personal story, as I felt that feeling a spiritual energy was a way for me to connect with my artistic side, and to try to use that to share positivity with those around me.
Right, and it did. It worked. It worked.
And yeah, well, when it said immortal phoenix, um, that was a reference to Baha'u'llah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, to the
Oh
prophet
no,
of
no,
the
sorry.
Baha'i.
Immortal phoenix, no, was the bird, but moved by the royal falcon. That's a
The
reference to
royal
Baha'u'llah.
falcon
I
was.
am the royal falcon on the arm of the Almighty. I unfold the drooping wings of every broken bird and guide it on its
See,
flight.
see what I learned about what I first heard in 2006. I didn't realize that that was a reference to Baha'u'llah.
Yeah.
And so, for listeners, Baha'u'llah is the main prophet with the Bab of the Baha'i faith.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And we both, I think we both really agree that to have a central teacher, central prophet is key.
Yeah.
Ours being 3,000 years ago Moshe, but for myself, Rabbi Abraham Abulafia being more recent.
Sure.
Yet you draw inspiration from these teachers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we go back to the text, and the beautiful thing is, when I go back and look at the Torah or study, the Abulafia, it really resonates and reinforces the same thing that Baha'u'llah and the Bab were talking about. It's becoming our best selves and helping to build a stronger society with principles of love.
Yeah, yeah. I think when Abulafia, when I was reading him through different scholars, said that Hebrew is the holy language in the fact that there are aspects of the holiness in every language, and there is a universal language in letters and in music. And I thought, oh, this is the teacher that I've just been looking for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was always inspired, and especially if folks go down, and I'm sure the walls have changed, but I would always go down to the Baha'i Center, and it said, one God, one human family, or it said, blessed is let's let the motorbikes go by.
The joy of outdoors.
The joy of the outdoor recording. I always think when I hear a motorbike that loud, how many tattoos does he have?
But anyhow, back to the lecture at hand. The earth is but one country and
Yes.
mankind its citizens.
Very
that was
good.
one of the things that was on
Let's
the wall.
say it again for the...
The earth is but one country and mankind its citizens.
I love that. So that was always resonating with me. I said, that's really true. And where's that in my faith? And it really got me going to start looking at books that were not in the mainstream. There's Elijah ben Moseg, a rabbi from Italy, who wrote about Israel and the nations.
Sure.
But it took me a while to find Abulafia, and to really find a teacher who I thought addressed it straight on.
Sure.
And his books were underground for 800 years.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. He was not appreciated, or certain rabbis were concerned about things he was saying. So his writings went underground for 800 years. So to think about the blessing of living in this time where scholars rediscovered him and put out books, and then I could lock into their work, it's quite incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, another thing that I think maybe you saw on the wall was so powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I think is when you try to translate that which has been written into reality and action, what does it really mean? And so when we think about peace, yeah, you think about disarmament and stuff like that. But I think when I try to, how do I actualize it? Part of it is just building relationships.
Right.
Trying to get out of myself and cross barriers, develop understanding, being vulnerable, being genuine. And that was kind of part of what we discovered, right?
Right.
That if you're going to be a force for unity, you try to workshop that. You try to have your own open mic and sound each other out and build something genuine that can then have concentric circles and spread that positivity outward.
I think that's it, because there's a lot of talk about different slogans, but what's the daily activity? What's the next conversation or the next smile or the next hand you can reach out to? And it's a competitive world, so we're not always. There are times when we have to do the best at our job because we have a competitor. But even in the act of competition, you can still have respect for the competitor.
Absolutely.
And so we found, working with Universal Language, we developed the band of Nachshon Zli, that as people, when people say, oh, money's not everything, and I don't get that sense from the way the world works. I think money is close to everything in the mind, and then people say, well, it's not everything, but it is close to everything. But I don't know if that really bothers me. Money is just the symbol of what your value is for what you're offering. So if I need to buy music, well, I pay a couple dollars for it. But if I need someone to save my life, I do pay a lot more.
Yeah.
There's a value system to it, but money really isn't everything. It's not that fulfilling.
Sure.
And then I found that religion and meditation is fulfilling up to a point, but I found that religion, as sort of a symbiosis, maybe is the word, but when you start feeling the joy of one God and one human family,